Good morning, everyone. My name is Madeline Crow, and I am here applying for the position of Nonprofit Manager. According to my research from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, May 2019, the job outlook for a nonprofit manager, its growth is 18% from 2016 to 2026, and the median annual salary is $65,000, which is about $31 per hour. So today I'm going to be talking to you about some of my objectives, my skills, my experience, my volunteer experience and leadership, and then my educational background. So first, let's talk about some of my objectives. I do want to be a full-time nonprofit manager, whether that be an entrepreneur running my own nonprofit management or working for one that's already been established in East Texas or in other states. I also would like to provide arts and education for kids who do not have access to them. I know growing up, I have always been immersed in the arts, all different forms of arts, being theater, dance, and visual arts, and I know how important it is for kids to have that in their education. So that is something I would love to give access to them. And I also would love to work with a team who loves arts as much as I do. Now that we talked about my objectives, let's move on to some of my skills. I have great communication skills. I also have great organizational skills. Every once in a while, I'll pick a room in my house and just reorganize it for the fun of it. I enjoy a neat and tidy lifestyle. I also have lots of experience with the arts. As I mentioned, I started theater when I was 4 years old. I also did art when I was 3 and continued that. And I've done different styles of dance, such as tap, ballet, and musical theater. I have a love for kids and serving others. I definitely have a servant attitude, especially towards children. Children are the foundation of our next generation, and so we need to give them good educations and good, substantial arts. I'm a hardworking and determined person. I'm a dyslexic, and so things that may take you 5 minutes take me 10 minutes because of word blindness or trying to refigure them. So I'm definitely a hard worker and very determined to make anything I do the best of my ability. I strive to contribute to my community, definitely of different service projects, and just making a change. If I can bring arts to one family in East Texas, then it'll make me go home happy. So now that I've talked about my skills, let's move on to some of my experience. So I worked for the ABC, the After Bridgemark Care, at my high school from August 2016 to May 2017. I worked with about 25 kids from grades 1 through 8. I was in charge of helping them come in, get their snacks, check them off on the roster, and make sure they're present for if they're going to leave early or come in late. And I worked with them for their reading and math help. Math was definitely my favorite, not so much the reading, but I tried my best on everything. I helped tutor them with their test or just simple homework questions. I also worked with the Bonner After School program from August 2018 to December 2018, which is a really new program that Young Audiences actually just started. So it's getting that art integration into our elementary schools. And I worked as a young group leader. I worked with the kids K through 2nd grade. And along the similar principle, I worked with welcoming them, making sure they were fed, and then I helped them with their homework. I often taught an art or theater lesson as well. So during Christmas time, we would paint ornaments, or during veteran time, we did veteran cards, and we're able to send those off as a service project from the kids. I also played different games with them, teaching them schoolwork, but through fun art ways. So like theater, miming games, or just getting them up on stage and being comfortable talking in front of people. So now that I've talked about some of my experiences, let's move on to my volunteer experiences and my leadership. So I was a student council member and president from August 2016 to May 2019. I was president at the Bridgemark Student Council, and then in Venture I worked with the service and the social committees. So my job was to organize service projects like Church Under the Bridge and the food bank, so giving back to the community, and also coordinating socials such as coffee houses, dances, Bible studies, those kind of things. I was also a Hobie alumni. For those of you who don't know what Hobie is the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Conference. Every year they choose about 10,000 sophomores from across the states to come to this conference where the best, the top of the leaders get to come meet other leaders, make service projects, and ultimately make one of their dreams come true. So I was fortunate enough to participate in that last summer, and I actually got to present the awards to these upcoming sophomores this year at our school graduation. I also received the Presidential Service Award, which is quite similar to the Fitness Award, but for service hours. To even qualify, you have to have 50, I think, for bronze, 100 for silver, and then like over 200 for gold. So I did 650 service hours my freshman year, 335 hours sophomore year, and then 72 hours my junior year. As school picked up, I decreased my service hours, but was still active in the community. I volunteered at Bridgemark Center for Learning, which was my high school. I worked about 20 hours a week for different months in the summer. I worked with the reading and spelling camps for the younger kids coming into our school. So now that I've talked about some of my volunteer experience and my leadership, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my education. So I did my high school at actually 2 different high schools simultaneously at Venture, which is a homeschool group, and then Bridgemark Center for Learning, which is a high school for dyslexic and ADHD and those kind of different learning specialties. I also started dual credit at TJC in the fall, and I plan to continue that into the next year, working to get my associates in speech. I am looking forward to my nonprofit internship this June, and getting to go to some different conferences, working with kids in education and the whole arts. After I finish here at TJC, I'm going to move on to UT Tyler to get my bachelor's in business, and then ultimately end up at Texas A&M to get my master's in nonprofit management. So now that I've talked to you about some of my objectives, my skills, my experience, my volunteer hours, and my leadership, and my educational background, I believe that I know, not just believe, I know that I have all of the qualifications, the experience, and just the heart for kids to be able to work in your company and with your team. So, if you have any questions, let me know. But thank you for this opportunity.